Hey Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's Jean Nolan here, and today we'd like to share something very special. Kristin and I have spent a few days with our dear friend and teacher of the Wolf Clan, Mark Barfoot. As always when we're together, he shares a lot about the traditions, the culture of his people, and the wisdom, the medicine that he has that he's passing on to others now and to us, which we're very grateful for. In the first part we shared with you, Mark spoke about the importance of women in his culture. Today, we want to share another important piece of that conversation with you when he speaks about the two spirits we all have within us. Please open your heart, open your mind, open your spirit, and enjoy this beautiful wisdom. Mark, you told us that everybody has two spirits. And with that, you also said, when we first met you and we told you, we felt very drawn to the Indian culture, and you explained why that could be. Could you tell us about the two spirits?
Everyone has an earth spirit that comes from the egg of their mother. The egg from the mother is where your earth spirit comes from. That's why we're tied to the earth, tied to our mothers and tied to the earth. When they check your genetics, the mother's side is easiest to trace because it ties from the mother to the earth, and so that's why we're a matrilinear, matriarchal society, is because of the earth spirit. But your earth spirit comes from the egg of the mother, which comes from the earth. So humans, we know, have a higher spirit, and there was a difference in our evolution, where it looked like we were a little more than an evolved ape type person, like a Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal. And then suddenly we become a human being. And when they become a human being, what was introduced into our bodies was a receptor, piece of genetic material that would receive a spirit from a higher spirit that would give us an eternal life, spiritually an eternal life. Now our other spirit, our earth spirit, is revolving eternally as well, but it's always connected to the ground you're on. If one day the earth blew apart, then those spirits would just be out in the universe. So maybe they would go somewhere else, but you know, the earth spirits are tied to the ground you're born in. Don't matter where you are born, you're still tied to the ground. So now we have a higher spirit. We say that when the water breaks, that spirit comes to the child. You know, it doesn't really come to the child before that, the higher spirit. So we don't really have that eternal spirit until right before we're born. It joins, but it joins voluntarily, and they learn, and they either mesh up or they don't. If they don't mesh up right away, then maybe one of them, maybe the higher spirit will leave. And then that person will kind of be born what they call autistic. Because if you don't have the higher spirit, you can't operate with a full human capacity. You know, you're really just kind of like a Cro-Magnon again. But then you got a space for the higher spirit if they ever want to come back. We got an earth spirit that comes from our mother, that comes from the earth. And then when we pass on, when our bodies return to the earth, our spirit returns to the earth. But until our bodies is consumed back by the earth, then we can't. Our earth spirit won't rest, you know, until that happens. So that's, you know, we return all our. That's why we had Indian mounds, was because we wanted to return the earth spirit back to Mother Earth.
We told you that we were both born in Europe, but we've never felt at home. When we came to North America, it felt very much like home, and we were both very much drawn to the Indian culture. Why is that?
Because a lot of Indians were taken to Europe for hundreds of years. They were taken to Europe, and for one reason or another, and by their captors, and they spent time and many Indians died there. And wherever your earth spirit dies, that spirit now becomes available in that area to be reborn again through another mother. Doesn't matter if she's Indian or not, but the child will still be familiar with the Indian with the heartbeat of the earth and the heartbeat of the drum. And so when you're born in another country and you feel like an Indian, but you don't have any Indian blood physically, but you got this earth spirit that's telling you is familiar with Indian ways, even though you've never experienced it before, till you come to this country and find out that this sounds familiar. Or maybe you're young over there and you watch some movies that are really more, or watch some documentaries that are more true, and then you realize that this connects with you better than your own culture, because really your earth spirit is really an Indian. You know, that's why my grandpa would teach anybody, because he didn't know who had an Indian earth spirit or who didn't. And our higher spirit doesn't have a race associated with it. It doesn't have a culture or ethnicity associated with it. Our higher spirit that would come from Creator, our second spirit when we're born, it doesn't have a religion. It doesn't have anything. It's a novice in this. I mean, it may have a history.
It's a free spirit.
It's not owned by any ground. And
not even owned by this world. It could also be in another world.
Right, but your earth spirit's always bound to the earth and always then to your mother. A German person could have a German mother, but have an Indian spirit, or a Romanian mother and a Romanian spirit and an Indian spirit, because one of her eggs has one of their Indian spirits in one of the eggs she's carrying, and if they happen to be fertilized, that's the egg that's fertilized, and they will come about feeling like they're Indians, and they never have a drop of blood.
Thank you.
Did that help out?
Very much so.